Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Tech-Tonic, the podcast, and this is episode 10. So, as we promised, episode 10, we promised you something like a whole different perspective, and I think you're tired of giving you news and giving you explanations of how we feel and what we think about all those techniques. So this is a reliever to you. So this is a whole different perspective. So today I got two gentlemen. As far as I know, they are all both in tech. The tech gurus, and they are fathers. So today we're talking about parenting in the digital age, navigating technology with kids. So I have got these two gentlemen. The first one is Ishanis Mandaba. I don't know if I said the name correctly.
Actually, it's Ishanis Mandaba. So the B is pronounced as Va. You know, if you know Ndebele.
Yeah.
His pronunciation is Va.
Okay. So we got a Ndebele guy here.
So to a lot of Shona people, they have a tendency to pronounce it as Va, but actually it's Ba. But a V, that is not really a V. Yes.
I get it. Okay. And then I got Mr. Wotam Tembo. I think on YouTube, people know him as Wolfex. I don't know.
Yes. That was my trade name on my YouTube channel. Yeah.
So I think we've got quite big profiles here, and so we're talking about parenting in the digital age. I think as a background a little bit, how I ended up thinking there is a need for us to sit down and talk about this thing. I am a new father. Like my kid is around 1 year 2 months right now, and the level of exposure that I've ended up giving to the kid, sometimes I end up questioning, like, am I doing the right parenting here? Is this the way kids should be raised? And then I look back at the way I was growing up. I wasn't exposed to technology as much as this kid is. So I decided, no, let me just look for other parents and we have a discussion on this issue and see how are they doing in their households. I'm pretty sure we'll reach out a conclusion that may help someone outside them. So I want to start with Wolfex. Mr. Wood. I really want to know, like, what's the role that technology plays in your household? One of them says, how do your kids interact with gadgets like smartphones, tablets, or computers, and also are they more drawn to learning apps, games, social media? Like, what is it like in your household?
Okay, thanks, Howard. It's now very difficult to separate our lives from technology.
Yeah, that's true.
From especially from those laptops, from phones, and from the internet. With this age that we have, the kids, the nature of the kids that we have now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to have a discussion where we divorce ourselves from technology.
Yeah,
it's here and it's here for good. So I think now the discussion should be, how are we managing to live with it within the boundaries that we can say no, we believe this is the right way. So as for me, you know, because we already have internet in the house, so any gadget that is in the house, that is in the home, is connected to the internet.
Yeah.
Be it a laptop, be it a phone, be it anything that you can think of.
Yeah.
So the kids are already exposed to those gadgets.
How many kids are we talking about?
They're already they're already exposed to the internet already, to the gadgets already. So now it's a matter of what kind of applications are they accessing on the devices. I think that's the discussion on what applications are they accessing on the devices. If it's a phone, you know, we can use a phone even for social media. You can use it for YouTube. You can use it for even the apps. You can actually download apps. All those things. Yeah. You can actually download games. So it's all those spheres. It can be educational. It can be for games. It can also be for interactions. When you want to have a call, you can actually talk to a child when she's at home. Yeah. When I'm at work. Yeah. And we are able to actually communicate. Yeah.
Yeah. And the same question to you, Mr. Mandava.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Watt, for inviting me. Okay, so to address your question, you know, it's first I'd like to start by saying, you know, this kind of generation that we are in, really, like Mr. Water said, you can't divorce it from technology. Or it's quite different, because us, when we grew up, we didn't really have access. We didn't have exposure to technological gadgets. Yeah. So when that was introduced to us during our time, which is still now, we are still fascinated. We still want to know more. But now it's different from our kids. Or I have one daughter. Yeah. She now. Okay, so at a tender age, she's only 1 year, 9 months. Yeah. She already knows how to operate a mobile phone. Like, basically, she knows that if I grab a phone, I need to scroll down and look for a red icon that has got a plus or something like that, and then press on that. And that's YouTube. So she's used to that, and so you see how different it is. So for that person now, it's easy for her to quickly adapt and adopt to technology. And actually, my thinking is that this actually paves way for innovation. Take it for example. Right now, it's difficult for some of us to really be innovative as far as these technological gadgets are concerned. Why? Because we have just recently been introduced to them. But our kids now, at a tender age, they know how to operate them. You see, they know how to maneuver around tablets, they know how to maneuver around using remote TVs. So for that kind of child, at an age of maybe, let's say, Form 1, grade 7, they really have explored quite a lot about technology. So their next stage, their next step is actually to think of, okay, so what else can I do with these gadgets? You see, so I think exposing our kids to technology actually paves way for innovation. So in my household, or in our household, we have mobile phones, we have TVs. We also have a solar system, okay, that charges with electricity. So it so happened this other day that I was expecting to actually switch on my TV and see soccer and watch soccer. And then I realized that my daughter had actually switched off the charging system of the system. So we didn't have power during that day, because you see, she would always check you when you go there to the plug and plug on that. She would always be watching and learning from you. So technology has actually improved the way of learning in the household. Okay, so she is still young. We haven't yet exposed her to the secular learning environment, but it is my hope that the current technology that we have at home will actually use it for her in advancing her education. For communication, it's obvious we use our gadgets for communication. it's funny that my daughter actually knows that this is her grandma's phone number.
Oh, wow.
So the moment that she scrolls down to the phone, she clicks on the contacts, and then I don't know how, but she always gets to the to the grandma's phone number. And when she dials the phone number, she actually can pick the sound of the ringing phone, and you see her hurrying to her mom, mama, the phone. See, so technology has actually improved our way at our households. So yeah,
I think there is, like, listen to all the conversations that, like, all what you're saying. There's a common ground. We should not limit the exposure. Like, we should give them the exposure, but at a limited pace. Like, we determine what they get access to, what they don't get access to. But the one thing that always fascinates me is I wasn't exposed to technology like that early. Probably the first time I had my first phone, I was going for Form 1, right? That's when I was given the phone for the first time, that this is your phone. But if you look at these kids, right now, 1 year, 2 months, like for my kid, I'm going to do daddy phone. Come phones, I got a daddy game, out a game. But I'm just trying to think, I wasn't exposed to technology this much, but I ended up being here, like being myself. Now, I don't think there is much in terms of technology that I can say I don't know about. I'm trying to say it. I'm now in the tech field, but I wasn't exposed to technology that early. Now that brings me to the question that how do you decide how much exposure does your kid have to the technology? I'm trying to say, at what point do you feel comfortable, like, introducing your child to social media? At what point do you feel comfortable to let your kid use the phone, like, literally anyhow, like, without limits? Because there is no way I can take the games from the kid right now. There's no way I can take complete the cell phone from the kid right now. But I need to know the amount of dose that I exposed to her.
Okay.
I don't know anyone of you can take it first.
Let me take it. The beauty of technology, there is parental control.
Yeah.
As for me, we use YouTube on the TV. So we have different user accounts.
Yeah.
So when she wants to watch cartoons, she doesn't watch cartoons on my channel, because they might come up some cartoons, some cartoons of maybe 18-year-olds or even 30-year-olds cartoons, and they're cartoons of all ages.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
But she'll look for cartoons, something just colorful.
Like the guys who like to watch cartoons at older age, they call them animations.
So we did a parental control where we created a YouTube, not a YouTube account. We created an account where we restricted the age to 5 or 6, so that she can only watch Cocomelon and those kind of cartoons, for girls, what. So that's the beauty of the internet. And on the phone, what we've done on the phone, we didn't put a line in the phone, so she can't call anyone. The phone is it's either she's playing games or she's using it for educational purposes, which is precisely for reading and for maths.
Yeah. Those
3 things. It's either she's playing games, she's reading. So your question was, how much do you know that you have exposed enough? I think in this age you're talking about, this kind of these children we're talking about, they are so much exposed to the extent that my daughter actually uses they don't read like what we used to do, where you read those grade 1 books, They actually use an app to read.
Oh, nice.
So she goes with the tablet to school, she reads with that. You can actually track her progress, that kind of a thing. So I think it's now an issue of monitoring. I just make sure that if I see anything, any app that is suspicious, I just uninstall, uninstall the app. You make sure that she doesn't access any other thing besides those maybe for school and maybe games only so far. But in as much as how I really want to make sure that she gets more exposed, such that maybe when she reaches grade 7 she's able to even code. Why not? Yeah. So I think it just depends with the age and how she'll be doing.
Okay. Kingsley, you didn't talk.
No, so there's a question. I think the guys can see. That's on the screen.
Okay, the question is, how do you manage screen time?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll take that one. And the first question is, I think I'll start by addressing that one.
Okay.
So managing screen time, actually, I think Mr. Wale is actually highlighted on that one. If you've given your child a tablet or a mobile phone, you really need to monitor her, whatever she is doing. So in my case, like my daughter, she doesn't go to school, she doesn't go to ECD, A or B, she's still at home, right?
Yes.
Right, yes. So at the moment, she's still at home,
Okay.
right? So for someone like that, really, she likes to have the phone for as long as she wants, right? Yeah. So I think for people like that, or for kids like that, you really have to restrict some certain applications. I think Mr. Wale said the mobile phone that your daughter uses doesn't have a SIM card, which is a very good initiative, especially if you don't want to end up explaining to people, oh, it was my daughter who was working with the phone, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's about monitoring, number one. And then also, there are some certain applications that you can actually use to look at the applications. You see, that means if your daughter or your son uses Google Chrome, that means you lock every other application and leave out Chrome for her. And then on the browser, from a security point of view, you can actually restrict certain websites for your daughter, so that she doesn't get to visit, or he doesn't get to visit those kind of websites. And then speaking on to those who have proper routers or Wi-Fi on their at home, you can actually restrict certain applications or certain websites through the management console of your Wi-Fi.
Mr. Mandawa is already getting technical. I think you can actually see which career he is in.
So I think that's the way. And then I would like also to touch something like that Mr. Wallace said. You need to check the maturity of your kids, right? Yes.
It's more like continuous monitoring.
Yes. So you need to check that, because for a grade 7 kid, really they are inquisitive. They need to know everything that is happening out there, and they need to. So you can't then restrict someone like that. But of course, you need to make sure that they are not exposed to issues to do with pornography and all that as they use their gadgets. So it's all about monitoring and then checking the maturity of your kids, and then later on expose them to whatever they need, because remember they are growing. So yeah.
The reason why I really ask this question is, if I look at my kid, actually there are a number of people who already have social media accounts for kids. Like you can actually see a 5-year-old with million subscribers, million followers right now on Instagram, right? And the amount of content that is dished out on all these channels, sometimes it's not appropriate for these kids. Sometimes the reason why I wanted to know the age at which you start exposing kids to technology is to come to this issue. When what's your take on the people who have already exposed the kids to social media? I think it won't be a correct way to use, but I feel like it's an infant stage. The kid they're still kids, and they already have social media accounts, and at the same time, mainly on that issue. Mr. Manda, I can start with you.
Okay, so to those who have already exposed their kids to social media, well, yeah. So I think it's eventually it's inevitable that kids will end up having this access. But for a certain age, I think I think it's not advisable for you to leave out your kid exploring to that extent, because once they own an account that can actually have those followers, how then do you manage the kind of responses, the kind of tweets, the kind of feedbacks that you get from the followers? Really, you cannot control that. You cannot. So, well, there's still hope, but the unfortunate thing is social media tends to shape some behaviors for our kids, especially when they are mature. For a grade 7 person using Facebook, it's totally different from a 2-year-old kid who is still trying to figure out which application does what. You see, so for a grade 7 kid, they now have a conscious mind. They can actually tell this is wrong, this is right. So we really need to restrain how we expose our kids. When a kid exhibits some attributes of being affected by social media, I think there's need for us as parents to sit down with them, talk to them, address the disadvantages, address the advantages, and address why you feel that the kid should not have that kind of exposure.
While on that issue, this question will be direct to you, Mr. Walter, and you just combine with this issue. When we were growing up, we most of our time, we spend most of our time outside, like playing soccer, playing maungwe, all those kind of things. So we're being built to be social beings. Now, with this exposure to technology, all these phones, all these social medias, and coming also to the question that Kingsley was asking, how much, how do you manage screen time? Don't you think we are already creating antisocial beings?
Yeah, you could, if it's not handled properly, it might lead to that. But the point that I wanted to mention is that this internet age did not replace the normal way of life, our normal way of life. But it's actually it's an addition to that. We just added another sphere of internet and the tablets, the smartphones and tablets that we have. So I believe we can't then say that no, but the children are no longer playing outside, or they are no longer social, they are now antisocial because of the tablets. It's because of mismanagement of time. So I think there has to be a time when we say if it's a teenager, she has to have time to play with others, time for the tablet. And remember, we are talking about kids. Kids are under our control as parents. So we should never leave it up to them to do whatever they want to do. But the aspect of control remains, that part still remains with the parent on how far you actually execute your role as the parent. I just wanted to add to what Ishe was saying. That remember, if you expose your kid or your child, grade 7, form 6, grade 7, form 1, form 2, she's already on the social media, on Facebook, on TikTok, wherever she is. We should always remember, they say that the internet doesn't forget her. And those footprints, you can never rub them. And I also want to put the point that one thing that made the internet popular is pornography. It's bad, but that is one of the things that made it very popular. So I think that role still remains with the parent. That when you give your child a device, you still need to monitor. The same as when your kids are playing outside, you still check to see if their environment is okay. They're not drinking something, keep out of reach of children. It still applies, but in a different way. That you still have to. That's where Ishe comes in now, to restrict whatever the child is accessing on the
I
internet.
think Amanda Mona go for a company kuita zvikutaura.
Restricting all the websites. So I think it's important for people to know that if it's a smart device, you can actually restrict in making sure that number one, restricts and monitor. Yeah.
I think there are very few parents who are aware that you can actually do these things.
I wanted to add something.
Yeah, you can.
If you check our generation, right? I'm not AMA 2000. But if you check some of AMA 2000 going big, and you will see that some actually failed their examinations, be it O-level or A-level, because of the fascination of technological gadgets. In other words, it was because of there was no proper screen time management while they were using mobile devices. So coming back to the question, I still think that parents of this era who are raising kids that are exposed to the trends, the technology, I think they still hope. Why? Because the difference is we grew up with no technology, right? Right, and then we were amazed. We were skeptical to adopt technology, right? That's why some of us or some kids out there ended up failing their examinations because they couldn't manage time, right?
Yeah.
So, but as parents now, right, we can actually monitor our kids who are growing with this technology to say, okay, today, right now, this is homework time. That's where you can use your mobile phone. Do your research. When you are done, put your phone aside and let's discuss as a family. So that way, when they grow up, they'll grow up knowing that technology should not really be an abstraction, should not really hinder my progress of life, like Mr. Wale has said.
Yeah.
So when that environment is created, our kids will not be affected by technology because they know that, you know what, this is really something that I grew up with. You see, this is something that I grew up with, and it really doesn't have to affect the normal way of life, like Mr. Wale said.
Okay, so Kingsley is asking a question. Before I ask you, I read out your question. I wanted to address something that Ishe mentioned when he said some kids ended up failing when they were trying to expose themselves to or when they were exposed to technology. Like recently, it's not funny anyway, but there's a lady on Sangana and she said, and actually later na madam yangu, and she wakamvunza kuti vaitwa nyaunzi I'm looking for a man chichi. Then she ended up saying andoda mukomana nonitengera phone, like that's one thing chakatanga mention up as a quality yemukomana nikachida. So tatongoreza kuti it's more like munhu anakuwa na the exposure that he needed to these technological gadgets, and I think this discussion was so necessary.
Do you know why some fathers strive to provide for their kids?
Yeah.
It's because they don't want their kids to be abstracted by some what do you call these things, like sugar daddies, but you know what, I can buy you pizza, I can buy you this, I can buy you that. Okay, as fathers, as parents, let's do that for our kids. So that, you know, when someone comes and make a proposal with those things, to her or to him, it doesn't make sense because she knows what's so special about me. So the same should apply to technology. Let's expose to them, technology to them, so that, you know, it's really that something that's not special to them. It's rather something that they can use for their development.
Okay. So Kingsley is asking, at what age do you think it's appropriate for a child to be on social media? Consider
so consider also that their friends are on these platforms. So basically it could be a situation where it's only your child that doesn't have a Facebook, but everyone in the class has Facebook or Instagram and things like that. So how would you handle that?
Alright. While Mr. Wale is meditating, I would like to think. Alright. I think there is an issue of family values that I think should come in. How do you want to raise your kids? What do you want them to be like when they grow up, right? So I think that actually should influence the kind of decision that you make with regards to that question. So let's check the effects, the impact of exposing our kids to social media, and also let's analyze how social media operates. For example, Facebook, right? I don't remember the article, but the title of the article, but I know there's one daughter. Was it yes, it was a daughter. I think she was at the age of, was it 15 or 14? She committed suicide. Do you know the reason? It's because when she posted something on Facebook, she was not happy with the comments of how people read. Yes. So there are people who, when you post something that is good, right, they will always bombard with the negative comments, which is I think it's inevitable because it's social media. Whoever sees that post, right, they are entitled to any comment, they are entitled to any opinion, right? Yes, that's what I think. So that kid committed suicide because she could not handle
the pressure.
Yes.
Social media.
Yes. So I think when you see that your daughter is fit to make a decision to say, okay, I will not make this decision. When you see that your child, your son is grown enough to make those kinds of decisions, because really, Mr. Wale, you want to add on also?
Oh yeah. I just want to say that I think COVID, that time when we COVID-19 period, revolutionized how this education system and how we communicate. And I think from then onwards, we never went back in terms of, remember the children at grade 7, they were actually being taught online on WhatsApp. So I'm trying to answer your question when you're saying, at what age? That becomes very difficult, but there are certain platforms that can be safe, where the teacher can actually open a WhatsApp group and parents are in the same WhatsApp group. You see, so and you can actually monitor the phone. But social media platforms like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, those can be actually very private and no one will see whatever you are posting. That becomes risky now. But I think just to maybe share with the audience that it's social media, but there are platforms that are safer than others.
Twitter is one of those safest. Twitter is not one of those who are safe.
Twitter is not, you see.
Okay, so my follow-up question would be, how would you deal with cyberbullying of your child online?
No, Romamune.
So say it's a situation where your child is probably 17 or 18, but then we all know that there are predators online, and it's the internet basically. But like you said, they are your children at the end of the day. How would you address that situation?
At the same time, tichikuratidza kuti ukabhuliwa outside, not cyberbullying, ukabhuliwa ukanotaura kuti ndeni pagona kuuya mudhara unorova vanhu kana kuti vanovhundusirwa, apa moita sei bwene?
It's still bullying, but maybe it's just been said cyber, but it's still bullying. It's still bullying, and it has got the same effects as someone being beaten. You see, so I think the parents need to take a step. Once your child is getting cyberbullying, the next step, approach the person. If it means blocking the person, you might need to just block the person if you can't meet them.
Blocking is just equal to
or rather, I have a different opinion. Well, assuming you have grown to have that interaction with your kids, right, where you get to discuss about these things on a general perspective. Okay, so what did your friend say on? Can I see? When we create an environment where our kids feel it's safe to share with you what's happening, I think we have a starting point to actually get to provide them some counseling. Because once, like I have said, once our kids are exposed to social media, everything that happens there is inevitable, because that's what it is. So I think we need to have that common ground with our kids as far as these platforms are concerned. Let them know our views and let us know the kind of interactions that they do. I know it's kind of difficult because having your kid having a mobile phone, it implies that it can be private, but you know what, when you don't create that environment where your kids feel safe to talk to you, they feel safe to discuss with you, that's only when you know that she has been bullied or he has been bullied. After, you know, when pataikura, you know, waigona kuti warohwa kwanditi but still waichika kuenda kunoudza kuti ndikanoudza, and yes, because probably you thought kuti ndaigonobva ndarohwa futi kuti iwe zimusoro augoni. So let's create that environment where, you know, our kids are really free and they feel it's important that they share whatever they go through with us, and then we give them our opinions, we discuss with them everything, and so that they actually see that actually, you know what, I can get a negative comment, but still that should not affect me. Yes.
Kingsley, I don't know if you have another question I'm about to change the subject.
So another follow-up question is that we have social media platforms and they have changed how children date, as different from the olden times where there were letters or phone calls, but now it's social media. The person is on their phone and they're talking to their boyfriends and all of that. As parents, obviously that will affect you at some point. How would you deal with those situations?
It's difficult. These young guys, they no longer come to the gate and knock. So as long as there's a phone inside, they know that they've got access. That's true. Look, I think we need to, as a parent, you need to make sure that you have an open communication with your child, number one. Number two, remember, years back, what would the parent do? They would chase the boy away. And that's in grammar. The same applies if it's a phone. You like I said before, you need to block. If you need to block, you need to block. If you need to call the child, you call. If you need to put some threads, you know, as the father, you may need to. Because I'm just saying that technology is not replacing our way of life.
Exactly.
Yeah, it should never replace. Because people tend to say that if they buy a phone to a child, they don't mind whatever she does on the phone or whatever he does. If he's watching whatever he's watching under closed, he locks his door, watches until 3 a.m. It's okay. No. So what I'm saying is, you still need to monitor. You won't allow your child to be watching, to be playing outside until 3 p.m. So why would you accept that you should be watching a movie or watching something, talking to your friends until 3 a.m.
And then another thing, our kids are still young, right? It's difficult for them to be visionaries of their future. We are the parents. We need to have that vision for them. If they don't understand about that at the moment, you know what? I've met this other guy who said, you know what, my father used to beat me up so much. But he's now passed away. He has now passed away, but I want to thank him because he shaped me to what I am right now. That person, when he was a kid, he didn't understand why he was being chastised, why he was being beaten up, why he was not allowed to go. You know, at that stage, it was like, hey, you guys, you don't reason, you parents, why are you not allowing me to do this? But it was for their good, right? Yeah. So some of the restrictions might not really be appealing at the moment, but I think as parents, we know it's good for our kids. So like Mr. Ota was saying, we have to restrain our kids. You know, what kind of daughter do you want to see in the next 25 years? Do you want to see a doctor? Do you want to see a nurse? Do you want to see a teacher? Do you want to see a president? Do you want to see what kind of daughter do you want to see in the next 25 years, right? Because remember, because of social media or because of exposure of these social media platforms, we have dealt with unwanted pregnancies, early marriages, because, you know, the guy would just say, inini as a father, seeing my daughter akabata bucket and when actually something else is happening out there. So we have to show our kids the advantages of why we are restraining them, because those things, they might not really be appealing at the moment, but it's for their good.
Yeah, this discussion is really insightful. I think there are a number of things that I as a parent learned today, and the number of things that I thought I was doing right, and I just realized no, I need to change in a way. And this has been an insightful discussion. I think. Oh, Kingsley, seems like you got another question.
Okay, so my next question is reading from tablets or mobile phones versus reading from hard copy books. Which ones do you prefer and promote? I know that you are tech enthusiasts and you are people deeply rooted in tech.
You are asking the wrong question.
Like, what would you encourage or promote in your children?
Okay, I want to ask you a question. It did been that you were given a tablet at 5 years and you were able to read all those PDFs you were sent at school, and you were able to read them on your tablet or on your laptop very well. Wasn't that going to be an advantage?
It wasn't going to be.
It was. So for me, yeah, I know the old school books, the books going to the library, yeah, but there are e-libraries as well. But I think with where the technology is going, there's no, I don't foresee my daughter maybe 20 years later going to those traditional libraries that we know, going to go and get a book from there. So it's actually better that she manages to read those PDFs on the tablet. So for me, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, okay, I think I would agree with you, but I have seen quite a number of people who are really enthusiastic in reading. You see them holding a physical book in a library or some shopping mall or a bus stop with the physical book, perusing through the pages. So I think it's different. My concern actually would be on the health issue, because you know what? Yes, too much light. I think we need to regulate that, because you know at this point my daughter was like this on the phone, right? Watching Coco Melon. But you know, I then thought about, okay, this light at this tender age, she's now exposed to that kind of light. Or what about when she reaches grade 7? Will that not have a negative effect on that? So I think that would be my
I also wanted to add that you know that it's not only, you don't have to read your books on your tablet or on your phone. There are Kindles. You know Kindles, right? Where they are purely meant for reading. So you can actually buy a gadget that is specifically meant for reading. So that it doesn't use it for games and what in social media.
Just to add on that, when I was at NAS, they've already thought of that issue. Their libraries now has got an e-library in it. Like you can't access the e-library outside of the library. So you have to go to the building, you get inside, you go on the machine, now you access the e-library. So you can actually read while in the library. So they're just revamping the library from being old way of people coming borrowing books or coming reading books, where it's still a place for you to read. But how do you read now? You read online, you read on the laptop.
I think it is with the new library.
So it's actually a good thing. Anyway, so as a way of closing up, I want to know, you guys are all in tech, and I think I want to know, when it comes to career, would you encourage your child to follow your footsteps? Like as someone who works closely with the tech and that kind of thing, would you want your child to end up being in tech?
Okay. Tech it's a big sphere. I want you to explore yourself and include tech in it.
Okay.
That's I think that's my response. I can't say I want you to be a DevOps engineer. I don't have to, but I want her to be, if she's going to be a doctor, she needs to be a smart doctor. If she's going to be a lawyer, she needs to be a smart lawyer.
But remember, there's that thing where they say kutuwale basa it's linked mazwana. So you have being graduate outside the tech field.
I just want to add.
Yes.
Look, if she wants to be a lawyer, she can actually be a cyber something lawyer.
Oh,
You see.
nice.
So I'm saying, if you look at every field, if it's biology, if she says to be a biologist, she can actually do bioinformatics, something to do with technology. So I think that sphere we can tell.
And also, remember, our kids are different people altogether. They are different. They have different personalities from ours, right? They might show an interest of technology at an early age, right? But I don't think that should translate to us really confining them to technology, right? Because remember, like I said, when they grow up with these things, to them it's something that is just common.
Yes.
You know, it's something that is common. I like the point that Mr. Wallace just pointed out. Be a smart doctor, be a smart lawyer, be a smart teacher. You know, let technology be part of what you do. Let them explore. Yes, let them be what they want to be, but let them be smart in everything. Yes. So yeah.
That's nice. So on this podcast we have a closing tradition. Whenever we have a guest, when you will leave a question for the next guest, that question will be asked on the next guest. But today we have a question that was left by a guest from the future. So apparently we've already recorded episode 11. So there was a question that was left for you guys. So the question was, this is a non-technical question.
Okay.
So the question was, if you are to go for a dinner date with any celebrity, who would be and what question will you ask the celebrity? So Mr. Water, I'll start with you. Yeah. I don't know. Mr. Water, are you ready?
You want my head to be chopped off?
You mean just for dinner?
Yeah.
It can be many way.
Yes. I think the main reason would be to ask the question that you have wanted to ask for a very long time.
Okay.
Male or female?
You know, I'm inspired by Superman once.
Okay.
I took a look. I researched on his journey. Now he opened all those radio stations, and now he became a minister and all that.
I think I will check Superman once when I post this episode. Maybe
yeah. So I drive motivation from him.
What will be the question?
The question. I want to know how he managed to accomplish whatever he has done. You know, remember what he has done is, remember we just had Radio 2 and Radio 4 and Radio 1.
Yeah, I wasn't born anyway.
Something like that. So then he revolutionized that and digitalized the platforms and opened a lot of radio stations. I think it's ZFM, something like that. So I think he did well.
Okay, so since you said I would say, you know what, funny as it may be, Elon Musk.
Okay.
Yes, I think I'm interested to know the kind of motivation that he has for the innovation that he is always ready to dish. So he's someone who seems to be very explorative and adventurous. I love that. So yeah, I really want to understand his motivation. Like, what kind of world does he envision, and also, or probably we can have the same kind of mindset that can actually help speed up a better life for as long as we live. Yeah.
I think this brings us to the end of this episode, and thank you guys for supporting us. We are seeing a lot of you subscribing. tell others to subscribe. If you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. Don't just watch and leave. Please subscribe. Turn off your notification bell. Turn on your notification bell, and see you on the next episode.